Wicked Metal Reviews.
Keith,
Yo.
we are reviewing Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yes, we are.
This is the newest game in the ever ongoing Assassin's Creed franchise. This is like what, the sixth year in a row they've done, or fifth or sixth year in a row that they've.
I think they did every single one since 2. They've put one out.
And that was 2009.
Year. So 5th or 6th year.
Yeah. But this year they're putting out 2 games. Assassin's Creed Unity is the game that is only on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It is the, I quote, next-gen Assassin's Creed game. And it's set in the French Revolution. You play as Arno. And that's the new Assassin. And let's dive into this bitch. It came out November 11th, and we're here to review it.
11/11. It came out on Armistice Day. Happy Armistice Day.
And drink Mountain Dew.
And Sprite. If there's no Mountain Dew around. So yeah. We'll start with some of maybe the story. So again, like Tyler said, you meet Arno Dorian, who is the son of an assassin and this is all stuff that you can find online anywhere, so I'm not really spoiling too much. And his father gets killed, so he's adopted by somebody whom unbeknownst to him, is the Grand Master of the Templar Order. And so he grows up with this guy kind of as his father, and his daughter being Elise, who is Arno's love interest throughout the movie. And basically, then his adopted father gets killed, and so in an attempt to find redemption, he joins the Assassins, and that's the gist of the story. The modern day section is, you're somebody only known as an initiate, and that Abstergo's kind of made a thing called Helix, which is like the Animus, but for home entertainment use, and so you're contacted by a woman named Bishop and a guy named Deacon, who is obviously Sean Hastings from the previous titles, and you're told to go try to find a sage through Arno's memories, and that's basically the modern day aspect. The setting of the French Revolution is really cool in this game because it's a backdrop. It's not the main focus, kind of like in 3, how you were literally the American Revolution. Like, you were there during the Boston Massacre. Like, oh, boom, you were there during the Boston Tea Party. It's like, oh, the Battle of, you were literally, if there was an important moment in the American Revolution, you were there. Whereas you're in a handful of situations here, and it just works so much better. None of the setting or whatever feels forced.
I think the only the one early in the game is storming the Bastille.
Yeah, but
cool.
then they make it make sense.
Yeah,
like, it's not forced. Like, oh, you Battle of Boston, here you go. Boom, you're there. Hey, guess what? This is the Boston Tea Party. Here, my God damn it.
Yeah.
But and also just bringing in the setting. The setting it's so nice to kind of go back to an old school-esque Assassin's Creed game. Whereas like 3 and 4 was, I don't know, there wasn't anything to climb. Unless you wanted to climb a church, which wasn't all that exciting, or a tree, a really big tree or something, there wasn't that much to climb. Whereas, you can climb the Notre Dame Cathedral in this game, which is pretty goddamn epic. Like, there's plenty of big things to climb.
And the reason for that is because everything is, it's 1-to-1. So, the buildings you see are, the actual size of what a building would be. And you look at pictures, you see gameplay of that, but you don't really realize how breathtaking and gorgeous it is until you put it on your TV and play it for yourself. Because, especially when you're like climbing something, like he said, it's really fucking awesome. And I must say, like, the art direction and just the graphics in this game are fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah, there's some of the best.
The smallest details on climbing on a building, on going to the interior of a social club, of the Notre Dame Cathedral, small things like that. Artistically, I feel the attention to detail is definitely there in this game. And I mean, the animations are fantastic. The mocap is fucking awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
combat, the cutscenes look gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a very pretty game to look at. Now, the thing that a lot of people will notice is that they're rendering a shitload of people constantly because
Yes.
I mean it's a very dense city. Paris is a very populated place, and they're trying to really relive that French Revolution. So you'll go around a corner and all of a sudden there's a couple hundred people rioting, and that kind of shit is really cool. I think it's cool. I think maybe they could have dialed it back just a little bit because sometimes the quickest way to get to where you got to go, or maybe you're trying to run from some guards and you're constantly running into people. Something that is a good strength of this game is also kind of a weakness in my eyes.
I think the crowds are also just cool because, I mean, it makes it a lot more realistic. I mean, again, you never really notice it. Kind of the same thing with the 1-to-1. You never really notice, oh, wow, I never noticed that before, that, it was never 1-to-1. And now that there's so many people, it's like, wow, looking back, every city in like every Assassin's Creed seems strangely unpopulated.
Yeah, and that is true. And moving to the new consoles with new technology, this is something that I really wanted them to address because the whole crowd system kind of got a little stale. It always looked the same.
Yeah.
The NPCs act the same. But I'm just saying that maybe
Not as many.
Maybe they render less NPCs, but maybe they give them more animations to make them all seem more lively, and there's a ton of variety. Maybe that will work out better. You know what I mean? It's just a thought.
The other single player thing that happens occasionally in a story, which is they've showed off a couple weeks before the game came out, are the time anomalies, which is basically Arno gets displaced in what is another point in Paris's history. And I think that does something brilliantly that even I fall victim to, which is I forget that you don't actually travel back in time in an Assassin's Creed game, but that it's just like a computer rendering of the events. And so that's just a nice way, because you go to like 18th century, late 1800s France, and then it's like, oh, there's a Statue of Liberty. Wait, that's not supposed to be here. Or in another one where you climb the Eiffel Tower during the Battle of Paris. Like, it's just cool. It's like, oh, putting Arno in these interesting situations, and it's like creatively they're just really awesome to do. And probably that's the one with the Battle of Paris is probably one of my favorite sequences of the entire game.
Yeah, I mean they're very unique and fresh, and they're interesting. I gotta say, what do you feel about the whole story as a whole?
The story, I think it's. I mean, a lot of people are saying it's bad, but I don't see it. I don't know. I think it's a really cool story. Everybody's saying Arno's a bland character, which he can maybe be a little bit, but he's better than Connor.
Oh yeah,
Connor is bland, but like the story's really good. How it's kind of
Assassin's Creed 2-ish.
It's with love story and a revenge plot, kind of like it's kind of back to that, but not like almost a forced revenge plot, which I think 3 was a little bit, and maybe 4 didn't even have a revenge plot, but like it's just it fits. I think it works, and they do something that the last couple of Assassin's Creeds have tried to do, but they do it better, which is they blur the lines between good and evil in this game. And I'm not going to spoil it because it actually has major spoilers, but like in 3, how as Connor you work with Haytham a bunch of times, and it's like, oh, maybe the Templars aren't as bad, and you start thinking like that. Or Edward in 4, when he's kind of morally ambiguous. There's times in this game where you don't really know who the enemy is, and you don't know really who your allies are, and it just makes it a better story, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I find this story intriguing. The story in 3 was, it had its missteps, but it had its good moments. 4 was kind of confusing at times. I was just kind of like, I don't know what the hell's going on sometimes, but when it was good, it was pretty good. But this game, I find consistently through every sequence, I get more and more intrigued and invested in the story. It's it's good. I think it's good. I don't really see where a lot of people are coming from with it being bad. I think the writing could be a little bit better. I feel sometimes some of the dialogue is just like, really? But, I mean, you can kind of put that past. I feel watching Arno's development from being this nobody to an assassin is awesome. It's a hell of a lot more realistic than what Edward had, but I've already said of how I feel about that. It gets back to something that we all discussed in our, everything we want in Assassin's Creed Unity video. It gets back to Assassins versus Templars. And that is fucking cool. It actually, to me, brings the Templars back into the Assassin's Creed universe, where it all started. And that's what got me super invested in this series, is that there's that conflict. And not only just the fun combat being in these, historical worlds, but that conflict is very cool to me, and it gets back to that. Now, I think the modern day parts are a lot better, and they're a lot more interesting in this game than they were in Black Flag. In Black Flag, they were just kind of like,
There.
what? Like, kind of confusing. Whereas here, they're good, but I'm going to say they're only interesting if you've played past Assassin's Creed.
Oh, definitely.
If this is the first one you're jumping into, or maybe you only played, one or two, you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? What are they talking about? I don't even understand. I think the story is good, and the modern day part is just getting kind of ridiculous to the point where it's just like, maybe they should just drop it.
But I can see why not, because that's part of the explanation of how this is all happening. But
I know. But it's better in this game.
It's almost like there's a different saga. The death of Desmond, was kind of like the ending of that thing, and now they're on to what I would call the Sage saga, because that's what they're trying to do, is locate a bunch of sages. Let's talk. Let's discuss some of the issues, to say the least, that this game has with a lot of stuff. I think first and foremost, the biggest issue is the frame rate problems that this game has. Now, I think it runs a little bit better now than it did when it first came out, but this game just runs like ass. It has poor frame rate problems. I think it's gotten a little bit better, where it's a little bit more consistently hitting closer to 30 frames per second, but it's still not, the best that it could be. You know what I mean?
And I'm not, I'm more of a console gamer, and all people I hear say all the time, you could really tell the difference between 60 and 30 if you're a PC gamer, because you have control over all this shit, blah, 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 blah. But, so I'm not huge on frame rates to me, but you can really tell that this game runs sub 30 frames per second. I'm hearing that it hits like 20 frames per second, which is fucking awful. And just like running through a crowd, the game chugs. And to me, they really gotta address this frame rate issue, because the better frame rate you have, the more responsive Arno is, the more responsive his movements are, the more smooth combat will feel. The better everything is. Games are just better with 60 frames per second. That's why Call of Duty is so buttery smooth with its gameplay. That's why people love its gameplay. Why? Because it runs at 60 frames per second. Every fucking game is 60 frames per second. And I'm not saying they need to get this game to 60 frames per second, because there's no way it's going to happen. But I'm just saying, get it to 30 and make it consistent. And it's just a problem to me. It's just not optimized at all.
I see. Now, at least maybe, movement wise, I don't think for. I don't know, maybe I'm just lucky. I haven't had as many problems with the movement system as you have. Also, maybe then again, I'm used to Assassins not running around, because, when I got my PS4, I think for 2 or 3 months, all I had was Assassin's Creed 4. So I got very intimate with the movement and how Assassin's Creed games move. But it's still, getting to go through a fucking window is a goddamn chore in this game.
Yeah, I agree, but it just still feels. I mean, because I played the fuck out of Black Flag. It was like one of my first PS4 games too.
Yeah.
It just feels so much different. It feels so not as responsive. It feels so like he's just sticks to things I don't want him to stick to, and it's frustrating to me. And you know, like I'll just be running along, and he'll all of a sudden leap over on this wall, and it's like, I don't know, or
What are you
like
doing?
climbing up a building to me is super frustrating because he'll grab onto things where I'm like, why how do you even do that? Like he'll run up a shingled roof, you know, but sometimes you can tell something's popping up, but he won't grab it, and it's frustrating, and it's just small things like that I feel could have been worked out way better. However, the whole controlled descent thing
Yeah, that's
is
what I was
very
gonna go to.
useful, and I do really like that. I don't think it's like the biggest and best change Assassin's Creed has had, but when it comes to when you have gigantic buildings that are thousands of feet tall, getting down them in just mere seconds is pretty fucking cool. And this is without eagle diving.
Yeah, because with the leap of faith, because that was always one of the things that I got in trouble with a lot playing Assassin's Creed, which is I'm on a high up building. There's no hay bales nearby. I have to get down. All right, hopefully I'm not too high and I don't kill myself.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So it's
right.
like there's literally you're kind of hoping. And if you're in the middle of a mission, you have to restart. Then that fucking sucks. So the descending is really nice, and I mean once you get the hang of it, you go up, you hold X, and then you just you swap back and forth between X and circle to kind of go through it. It makes sense, and I mean, and it helps with again going from climbing up the Notre Dame Cathedral to going down to the fucking catacombs, which is a cool area of the map.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
just
Underground, you dig.
But
If you find a staircase, that means you can go underground. A staircase will show up on the map.
yeah.
So
Let's talk about the problems, because we can't really talk about it with the co-op.
yeah. So Keith and I have both played this game a lot.
I've played
put
it
a
basically
lot of
every
time.
day since it came out, and this is I'll put a date
For
on this
a
day.
couple
It's
hours.
Friday. It's the Friday the week after it came out.
Yeah,
That's what this is.
and we've played it pretty much every day for hours.
Yes, for
Every
at least
night.
2 or 3 hours.
So, and we have not been able to connect and play co-op with each other once, and we've tried it pretty much every single time.
I can't connect with anybody playing co-op. Now
Yeah.
I think you can actually maybe if you wanted to play public, play with people.
Only that one time.
Oh, only that one time? Fuck.
Like, and it's frustrating because on PlayStation 4 you'll press the options button and you'll go to play together, and there's a button for invite friends, and you'll hit that, and then it'll go to a please wait screen, and you'll just be sitting there for an eternity, and that stuff's really fucking frustrating because when you have a game that's advertised as one of its
know.
best selling and biggest features is co-op, and you can't play it, well then that's fucking fucked, mate. Like, there was one time where I was able to, I guess, connect to the servers properly, and I was able to finally send Keith invites, but he wasn't able to connect to my game. And so the servers are fucked for this game. And it really sucks because, I mean, I really want to play co-op. So, I mean, anybody that's looking to hear our thoughts on the co-op,
We're sorry. We can't have an opinion on it. It doesn't fucking work.
maybe in a couple months, watch a weekly breakdown. We can finally tell you how it is. But
So, more talking about even just the co-op in general, I feel like this game is so ambitious. This is probably the most ambitious Assassin's Creed that there's been yet. And yet, the one area that I feel like above all else, because it's how they were advertising it, they should have been the most ambitious, the co-op is so laid back.
yeah, it's
like-
kind of anemic. in
Because
ways.
it's like, at first, we found out about the game, they're like, hey, you can basically play through co-op through most of the story. And then it's like, alright, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of, or you can play through co-op of the story. And then they kind of came back and said, oh, well, there's going to be some missions that you have to play single player. To basically, yeah, there's only co-op missions, and there's only a handful of them
Yeah.
on the outside. Now, you can replay them over and over again, because, I mean, that's but it's the same mission and you're doing stuff. So I mean, I see games on last gen where like Dead Space 3, where it had like a really cool co-op campaign and it made co-op work. You know, why couldn't they have done that? Or
well, yeah, I know where you're coming from, but to be fair, Dead Space is a very linear experience where this is a huge open world because basically, you with however many people you add, that's 2 times the rendering you have to do, or whatever, and
Or GTA 5 is another good one where it's kind of almost in the same. It's maybe not the new one, but it's like, hey, it's a third world game. You can have like 15 people in a game or 16, whatever the number was, and it's you can have all these people in. And I mean, GTA 5 is still probably one of the best running games ever, but like, I don't know. It seems so like last minute. It's like, oh, let's throw this in, but then they didn't. They didn't flesh it out enough, in my opinion. I feel like they need to flesh out the co-op more, especially with another game.
I agree, and it really sucks that we haven't been able to play it. I think we should move on and talk about. I think it's basically the only major thing we have to talk about: the combat.
The combat's, and again, it's probably a bit of the frame rate. Combat's slow in this game. I'm just because I've gotten used to it and it's okay. I've gotten used to the lack of it. There's not really a counter button anymore. There's a parry button, which is kind of like you don't actually counter and get the counter kill. You just deflect their attack, and then there's the dodge. And so then a lot of enemies you can just dodge because you're going to get hit a lot, or you can just parry people. But I mean, it works, but the combat's just really slow. I don't know. But I mean, it works. It's actually like when you're in a fast-paced enough combat, and it's a good thing. Combat's fun and it's interesting. I mean, I like how L1 is a bind for being able to use all your projectiles, like your Phantom Blade, your Berserk Blade, and your gun. You just quick shot people.
That's really cool.
But like, I mean, instead of about the only main difference they did is that there's no dual wielding. Which is like, has basically been in Assassin's Creed since 2, and there's there's no counter button. But yeah.
Are you thinking of butts?
I'm thinking of butts because there's a butt on the screen right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fine. And it's one of those things where at first I was like, this combat is fucking atrocious. But then over time, I just kind of got to just suck it up and deal with it.
That's okay, yeah.
I mean, it's not awful, but yeah, it does feel slow, and you have to get used to that. Whereas in like Black Flag, it was pretty speedy, or in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or 2, it was very fucking fast. Sometimes I find it a little frustrating where, a guard will be trying to attack me, but he'll be attacking pretty much from way off screen, and I won't see the parry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's almost more a methodical combat system where you really have to almost watch the enemy's movements and know when they're going to attack, because they'll start attacking before the parry blocks up.
Yeah.
So you got to prepare yourself, and you kind of got to watch it. One thing I do really like is, and I think it was in other Assassin's Creed. It's been a couple months since I played Assassin's Creed, or like Assassin's Creed 4 or anything. I haven't played in a while. It's the whole dodge thing.
Dodge wasn't like there wasn't a dedicated dodge button.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that, because maybe you're too late to the parry, dodge and roll out of the way or something. Like it kind of spices things up, and I think the whole being able to quick shot thing is really fucking cool. Over time I've grown to like this combat system or more. I still think I will forever think the combat in Brotherhood and 2 was the best combat system. 3 and 4 were good, and this game's not bad to me. It's still one of those things, whereas, in 2 and Brotherhood, you felt fucking so badass, in my opinion, because you get in a fight with like 10 dudes and you kill them all. Whereas in this game, you're just going to get you're just going to get destroyed, pretty much. So I mean, yeah.
I have two things I want to add, and then also that just brought up another thing that we haven't talked about. But I think the whole thing with people being off screen because the camera's pulled in a lot closer than in a lot other Assassin's Creed. The other thing is you only have one hidden blade, so when you have to do like double assassinations, it's a little bit more different. Like I think I heard you put it one time. It's like the amount of to lack of a better term, the amount of swag that Arno has when he's killing people is pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool. It's like he like stabs this guy in the face while grabbing the other guy and like, hey, look at what happened to your buddy, and then boom.
Or he stabs one guy and he just chokes the other guy out. Like
it's pretty.
But then one thing that we forgot is like just how they brought back customization. How there's almost an RPG-ish element to this game.
Yes.
How your equipment, what you buy, actually kind of matters because they all have different stats. There's different kind of weapons, not just a goddamn sword,
Yeah, and you can upgrade all these weapons too, which is awesome.
And it's like there's just so many like cool things, and they all look different. You can pick your color, in which you kind of have to in order to, I guess, for co-ops you can distinguish people. But like, you can get different guns. You added rifles. You get full-on rifles. There's like spears now as a type of weapon. Like there's just all kinds of new things customization-wise.
Yeah, and they've added a lot of skills, so certain things are now skills, such as the money pouch is now a skill. What's another skill?
Double assassination.
Disguise, double assassinations, more health.
Which is
more
like,
damage,
which is necessary because, like I said, I've gotten one hit so many times because I didn't have enough health.
So a lot of the skills are cool. There's also co-op skills. However,
since we can't play co-op, why buy them?
Exactly. So I think the whole customization thing is really awesome. You can customize. One thing I like is that, say, I really like how this piece of armor looks. So, I'm going to keep it, but I can upgrade this piece of armor. And, it might not be the greatest thing, but it's upgraded and all that jazz. You upgrade your stuff through Creed points. Oh, well. And you get Creed points by doing somewhat stylish things. So assassinations, finisher moves, all that cool stuff. And then, you buy the weapons with money.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm trying to think. I don't think there's too much to say.
Yeah, there's not much else about this game that we can really cover. We've kind of hit all the bases. It just sucks that this game had so much promise, and yet it's so good, but there's a bunch of glaring problems about it. I mean, that's like, my final thoughts is that it's a good game, it's just terribly flawed by some things.
Yeah. I just think this game suffers from a lack of polish. I think if this game was, kept in the oven a couple more months, dude, it would be so much better. And it's the lack of polish on the technical side, with the frame rate, with little glitches. I haven't ran into any major problems, but
None.
Keith has fallen into the world pretty much, right?
Yeah, I fell into the world once. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other minor things, but there's there's some polish that's needed for glitches and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and it just hurts this game. I mean, this was like my pick for game of the year this year, and it's a bit of a letdown, a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, my pick was Destiny. That was disappointing too.
Oh, yeah, but it was Destiny, and then this, and then it's like, oh, well, it's okay. I still got Assassin's Creed, and then
I think it is fun. It is a fun game. However, I feel it's a little bit of a niche game. If you never liked past Assassin's Creed,
Don't buy
if
it.
you're a person that only bought Assassin's Creed to play Black Flag because you got to sail some ships and blow shit up,
it's a new game.
and you say you didn't enjoy the assassin part of that, you probably won't enjoy this game. However, if you're on the fence about this game, I say pick it up in a couple months. To be completely honest with you, wait till the price goes down. I kind of don't want to say that, because I mean,
It's a fun game, but
it's a fun
like
game. But
wait until they patch it up, and there's
once they patch it up, this game's going to be a hell of a lot better, in my opinion. It released a little bit too early.
yeah.
It's a little bit premature. But for what it tries, it's fun. I mean, it's no excuse for its problems. But, I mean, I do appreciate them trying new things. And The French Revolution is one of my favorite periods in history, and so it's a very intriguing place to be, and it's a good story too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a bad game.
Let's do ratings. What do you got?
8 out of 10 to me, and yeah, I mean it's just it's a solid 8 out of 10. It's a good game, but things hold it back from being a great game, which I really wish I wanted to sit here and say this game is fucking great, but
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.9 out of 10. It's a high C. Like, because it also kind of, I don't know, it's the problems with and how there's, there was just some problems, I would, probably give this game an 8 out of 10. But since there's just problems and there's like, just I feel like something, especially around with the co-op, like just missing, I give it a 7.9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So a high C. So it's again good. It's like average, but it has some growing room to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe the DLCs like makes it a lot better. Maybe who knows? We'll
There's
see.
a lot of content in this game, so they did not gut this game.
Yeah.
This is not a gutted game.
No. Hashtag Destiny. Bungie gutted Destiny.
And
But-
Activision hashtag.
Activision.
All right.
All right.
See you later.